cold, very cold. Better than food, man. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Better Than Food Book Reviews. I'm your host, Clifford Lee Sargent. Great to see you as always. Hope you're doing well. Get that coffee. Today's episode is brought to you by the Ridge Wallet. These things are awesome. They are light and sleek, industrial. I feel like fans of Blade Runner or William Gibson will really appreciate this. It doesn't fold or awkwardly bulge in your back pocket, and it seriously changed my whole pocket situation. Freed up some space, you know? It holds up to 12 cards, plus room for cash on the back. You're literally never going to need another wallet, ever. It's the last one you'll need to buy. It totally feels like this thing could take a bullet. So, in more ways than one, this thing could save your ass. There's over 30 colors and styles, including carbon fiber and burnt titanium. I got my wife this aluminum one here. This is the Celeste model. It's kind of a bright color so you can see at the bottom of a dark purse, or if it falls on the ground at night in a bar or a restaurant or in a club or something, you're gonna be able to spot that. The durable material means the wallet comes with a lifetime warranty. You could buy this one wallet and keep it for the rest of your life. The Ridge team is so confident you'll like it that they'll let you test drive it for 45 days. You can send it back for a full refund if you don't love it. And if this wasn't enough to win you over yet, check out their 30,000 5-star reviews. You can get 10% off today with free worldwide shipping and returns by going to ridge.com/betterthanfood and using the code betterthanfood. Link in the description below. Thanks a bunch. I grew up not far from Klatskanai, the town where Raymond Carver was born. Klankenstein, as a friend in high school once referred to it, and I thought that was funny. I remembered that. I drive through it all the time. My car broke down once in Yakima, Washington, and I was stranded there for a few days, which is where Carver grew up. I was forced to publicly sing the song Brandy, you know, Brandy, you're a fine girl. I was forced to sing that publicly in a karaoke bar, like a Chinese karaoke bar, with a friend, by a friend. He forced me to sing it, even though I didn't know the song or the lyrics. I remember eating breakfast in a cafe and reading that Robin Williams had just committed suicide. That was the mood. What I'm saying is I know this atmosphere, this territory that Carver comes from. Sawmills, fishing, lumber, rain. Today we're going to talk about what we talk about when we talk about love by Raymond Carver. Say that 5 times fast. This is a collection published in 1981 of sparse, terse short stories about relationships, quiet desperation, and, like the title would imply, love. Raymond Carver was a very famous American author from the Pacific Northwest. Immediately, you find yourself immersed in the world of the working class in every single story. There's something very working class about the actual writing and style of Raymond Carver himself, in that its prime concern seems to be function. To elicit these complex, heavy ideas, every single word is intentional, deliberate, functional, useful. There's no excess. It's very stoic, in a way. There's no wandering, right? There's no internal monologue going off for days about, you know, so-and-so and lots of metaphor. I wouldn't say it's not poetic, it is, but it's a very, very specific, stripped down kind of poetry. And this in itself, the focus on these things, sets it apart from other authors, distinctly. And in itself says something about the author and the world he comes from. Raymond Carver grew up in the Pacific Northwest in eastern Washington. That's where Yakima is, eastern Washington. It's very different, actually, from Klatskanai and Port Angeles. It's not nearly as... I mean, Klatskanai even is kind of... It's not on the water, but it's close. So it's a little more rainforesty. Yakima is like arid, right? Washington, as they call it outside the city. That's what I heard growing up. The stories are about people like the kind I knew growing up, but not personally. Just sort of saw around, you know, neighbors or parents, relatives of townsfolk. Sad, small-town, downtrodden, working-class Americans. There's a great documentary I've linked to below which captures that kind of atmosphere, gives you a glimpse of that world. It was made the year I was born. It is 31 years old. Oof. About halfway through, probably, if I'm lucky. These stories are about the muffled anguish, as this documentary I've linked to below puts it, of the tired American Pacific Northwest working class. The people who work hard, laborious jobs, following the American dream, but where there never seems to be enough money at the end of the day. And like Hunter S. Thompson in Fear and Loathing, the book Fear and Loathing, which I reviewed not too long ago, though absolutely and fundamentally polar opposite in its delivery, tone, and style, is preoccupied with the American dream. Though, of course, with Carver, that's just one component. With Thompson, that kind of is the beacon, the symbol of Fear and Loathing. Anyways, this sort of implicitly asks, what is the American dream? And is it something achievable for normal folks? What if you believe you're doing the right thing and do as you're told and stay within the lines, go to college, get a job, get a career, be a responsible adult, pay your bills, so on, get married, have kids, and it's still not enough to make ends meet, much less provide any sort of satisfaction to you. He said about his first marriage in this documentary, "For the first 10 years or so, we had a lot of hope and idealism and a little strength, and we thought that if we worked hard and did the right things would happen. Things would work out. This is not just the American dream. I think this is common to us all." Well, as it turned out, we did the best we could, and we worked as hard as we possibly could, and things did not turn out. There was never enough money to go around at the end of the month. Finally, that kind of endeavor and that effort began to wear us down, and things happened. And this is something really important that I feel many of us, to varying degrees, are witnessing right now, or unfortunately learning firsthand at the moment. One of the coldest possible truths that life has to offer us. Barren and without comfort. You can do everything right and still be destroyed. You can make the right decisions and be responsible and marry the right person, or have the right career, or live in the right country or city, vote for the right person, pray to the right God. You can increase your chances, but you can't eliminate the ability of life to snatch all that away from you at any given moment without warning or mercy. Then all of a sudden you wake up one day and discover how unbelievably callous the vengeful creator can be. Helps not to take these things personally, of course. But the process of life seems to be an endless cycle of creation and destruction. It's exhausting. And that sure can make you tired after a while. Those are the people you see in Raymond Carver's stories. People who are tired. They're just people who have been through a lot. People who are beat down. They've seen too much. They've been in love. They've done the whole thing. They had the hopes and dreams. Didn't work. They worked hard. They tried with what they could, Whether it's bad luck, or they simply just drank too much. Or they had an affair, made a bad decision, made a mistake, made one mistake, made a bunch of mistakes, made too many mistakes. Just, people who are weary. And I don't think anybody has encapsulated that weary melancholy, that kind of seen too much life and lived through too many disappointments like Carver. So with Carver himself, the alcoholic descent came, and then he went to AA and got sober. And then for the last 10 years of his life, he published like 12 books or something. His output is just tremendous. So he came to the brink, came back, and then became extremely successful and became known as one of the greatest American writers. He died young though, he died at 50. It's a real shame. But talk about a comeback from the edge of oblivion. So, it's possible. All the stories are tense, tragic. There's a little humor, maybe a little bit here and there, but it's pretty, takes place in all these domestic environments and houses, normally between men and women. The themes include loneliness, alcohol, breakups, and murder. I had read the story Tell the Women We're Going on recommendation from a friend a while ago. Easily one of the most disturbing reads in the book, and one of my favorites. He certainly paints the men in his stories as these silent creatures of kind of stoic doom with this flaring potential for violence. He really gets across how dangerous they can be. And he never lets you inside the heads of these characters. You're only able to see their actions and hear their words. It's realism, right? But of course that never tells us everything. And he's only giving you certain pieces. So it's smart, sharp writing. It's really cold, very cold. She did this, he did that. Realism, which is to say it feels real because we can't see inside, right? We can't see what they're thinking. And that adds a hell of a bunch of tension to the stories. Combine that with saying very little, I mean very little. And it's like every story is a silent, loaded gun sitting on the kitchen table waiting to go off. It reads very easily. I think you could miss a lot if you take it too fast. Because what's impressive to see is what he does with so little. How much he can convey word by word. It's incredible, really. How much can you take away and not diminish, but actually add to a sentence? In literature, it's possible to say so much more with less. And Carver demonstrates this perfectly. In no way am I arguing for all writers to be as sparse as Carver, no way. It's just a style, it's just an option. And he's developed a technique for writing fiction that hits like a sledgehammer using just a few words. It's crazy. Most of these short stories aren't more than a few pages. They're simple stories, but it's filled with complicated questions, deep, complex questions. There are questions here that I recognize, questions with no answers, that all of us at probably some point in our lives, sooner or later, will ask ourselves consciously, or consider unconsciously, maybe on the edge of sleep or deep in thought somewhere. Then we don't write them down and they may come back or not. Maybe we don't want them to come back, maybe we're actively avoiding them because they don't have an answer. Questions such as, why do bad things happen to good people? Why don't bad things happen to the bad and good things happen to the good? Like in the story After the Denim, which is easily the most engaging story I've read about an old couple attending a bingo game. That's for sure. Or the question, will the same thing happen to our love that happened to their love? You know, as in the first story, Why Don't You Dance? Very famous short story. Very good short story. Very tragic. Beautiful. Simple. Not as dark as the other ones too. But sad, no doubt. It's about a man having a yard sale filled with possessions. A bed, TV, all kinds of stuff. Things that belong to him and his wife, or him and the woman he loved. And a young couple stops to shop, and the man's giving him a deal on these items, and they end up, drinking together and passing the time. It's just about that, it's about what happens in their exchange, which is not like, it's not violent or insidious or anything, and it's not even like particularly dramatic. It's just, but within the small actions that occur, what's suggested in the future is tragic. Where the last line suggests that possibly the couple is headed in the same direction as the man and his wife, in the same endless cycle of love, right? That's a famous and brilliant one. Complex, understated, and nicely executed, no doubt. But I think the story that shares the book's title is my favorite, for sure. What we talk about when we talk about love. It's a simple premise. A group of friends are sitting around a table getting drunk off a cheap gin, and somehow they get on the topic of love, as in what love is, the definition of it. One of them, Mel, a cardiologist, disagrees with his current girlfriend or wife, Terry, about her ex, who he said didn't love her because he was abusive and threatened to kill him, Mel, and her as well. Terry, on the other hand, claims he did love her. She claims it was love, a kind of love. And then back to Mel, he starts to think about the whole idea of love after his first wife, his ex-wife. That's what I'm going to read to you here. What do any of us really know about love? Mel said. Seems to me we're just beginners at love. We say we love each other, and we do, I don't doubt it. I love Terry, and Terry loves me, and you guys love each other too. You know the kind of love I'm talking about now. Physical love, that impulse that drives you to someone special, as well as love of the other person's being, his or her essence, as it were. Carnal love and, well, call it sentimental love, the day-to-day caring about the other person. But sometimes I have a hard time accounting for the fact that I must have loved my first wife too. But I did. I know I did. So I suppose I am like Terry in that regard. Terry and Ed. He thought about it and then he went on. There was a time when I thought I loved my first wife more than life itself. But now I hate her guts. I do. How do you explain that? What happened to that love? What happened to it is what I'd like to know. I wish someone could tell me. Then there's Ed. Ed's Terry's crazy ex. Okay, we're back to Ed. He loves Terry so much he tries to kill her, and he winds up killing himself. Mel stopped talking and swallowed from his glass. You guys have been together 18 months and you love each other. Shows all over you. You glow with it. But you both loved other people before you met each other. You've both been married before, just like us. And you probably loved other people before that too, even. Terry and I have been together 5 years, been married for 4. And the terrible thing is, but the good thing too, the saving grace, you might say, is that if something happened to one of us, excuse me for saying this, but if something happened to one of us tomorrow, I think the other person would grieve for a while, but then the surviving party would go out and love again, have someone else soon enough. All of this love we're talking about, it would just be a memory. Maybe not even a memory. Am I wrong? Am I way off base? Because I want you to set me straight if you think I'm wrong. I want to know. I don't know anything, and I'm the first one to admit it. Those famous concepts, really fall apart if we try and define them. Love, freedom, maybe happiness, Death, even in some ways, more or less, depending. We'll find out, that is. Well, it's surely the cheeriest thing I've ever read, but better than food, no doubt. So what did I dislike? Well, the stories are sort of all variations on a theme. It reads like it's coming from exactly who it's coming from. It reads like it's coming from a very sad but very smart man in a bar. Depending on your mood, that can be fine or not. I'm not a huge fan of realism in writing. It sort of reminded me of Bukowski without the humor and magic, or a far sparser Cormac McCarthy. And while it's impressive, no doubt, it's just not my favorite thing to read. But yeah, if you like Cormac McCarthy, Bukowski, maybe Harry Crews, and if you enjoy the book that I just reviewed, Hurricane Season, you might want to check this out. I think she was inspired by him. I think this would be a good progression, a good follow-up to that. So yeah, hope you enjoy. All right, coffee time. If you know the song Homicide by 999, every morning I wake up, I substitute the word homicide for coffee time. You know, when I walk into the kitchen, all like puffy and in desperate need of coffee, and I'm just saying, coffee time! For those of you who are new, I take all the names of the patrons on Patreon who have donated $5 or more per video, and I place their names in this mason jar, and I pull out a name for every review I do, and I send whoever's name I pull out a hard copy of the book I'm reviewing, plus a bag of coffee, roasted by one of the wonderful roasters here in Portland, Oregon, usually roasted by me. However, during COVID, lockdown, all this stuff, for health reasons, and also to support small businesses, I've been sending out coffee from roasters I love. And there's a bunch of them here in Portland, Oregon. It's a wonderful place for coffee, and the coffee I send out is delicious. Unfortunately, international shipping is not included. So if you'd like to get in on that, you can head over to patreon.com/books-are-better-than-food and donate $5 or more per video. $1 or more will get you access to the patron-only reviews, the Discord channel, and the Better Than Friday newsletter that I send out every Friday, which is just a list of 5 different things I'm interested in at any given time. Could be books in the pipeline, music, movies, articles, changes week to week. If you think we have similar tastes, I think you'll get a lot of value out of that. Also, if you donate $1 or more on Patreon, you will get all of these reviews ad-free. So if you'd like to support the show, the link is below. Thank you so much. All right, best of luck to all the patrons. Thank you so much. Here we go. Katie H. Thank you very much, Katie. Really appreciate it. You're going to receive Raymond Carver's What We Talk About When We Talk About Love, plus some delicious coffee. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed this, and you can also follow me on Instagram. Really appreciate it. Always remember, bring a book. All right, take care of yourselves. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you soon. Ciao.